most amazing artist, I hope you're having a terrific day today. We are starting a brand new project, and this project is going to be a self-portrait. That means we are going to be drawing a picture of you. You are going to draw a picture of you. That is a little bit later in this project. Today, we are going to focus on the background of our self-portrait, and we're going to do something that's called a watercolor wash. So it's a very light coating of watercolor. And this self-portrait is going to be all about you. So I recommend choosing a color that you really love. I'm gonna choose pink because that's my favorite color. Whatever color you choose today, you are going to be using for the rest of this project because we are making it monochromatic. We are using just one color. If you don't have watercolors, then you can just use a marker, okay? So maybe you wanna do purple. What you're going to do is you're going to color your entire paper purple, okay? Use a marker, a washable marker. Don't use a Sharpie. This will not work with something permanent. Has to be washable. You can color your entire piece of paper, trying your best to color in all the white spots. And then if you just get a little bit of water, you can either take a paintbrush if you have a paintbrush and just put the water on top of your marker, or if you don't have a paintbrush, you can actually use your finger, dip it in your water, and start adding the water to your marker that's on your paper. And washable markers are really cool because when you add water to them, they turn into paint. So you'll still have a really cool background for your self-portrait. If you're not able to do any of that, then you can just color your piece of paper. Choose a color, whichever one you want for this project. Choose one color, and you can color it using crayons, colored pencils, anything you have at home. I also have a brand new piece of paper, and I wanted to show you this watercolor palette. You could use this if you want to. These watercolors are dry, so the magic ingredient is water. You have to use your paintbrush to slowly add water to these colors to get them to work. So that's how you use a watercolor palette. Now Miss M is going to use something called liquid watercolors, and I just keep it in this little container because it's easy. And these watercolors are already in a liquid form, so I don't have to add water to them. If you are painting, I recommend using a messy mat. That is just a big piece of paper under my work that catches all the mess so I don't get any tables dirty. And of course I have a pencil because this is a brand new piece of paper, so I need to write my name and then flip it over so now my name is on the back. Once your name is on the back, you're ready to start painting or coloring, whatever you're doing for yours. Remember, we are just using one color today, and I've chosen pink because, like I said, that's my favorite color, but you choose whatever color you love the most. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start painting this on my paper. This is a little bit dark, so I am going to add some water to it, and that will lighten it up a little bit. So if you want your color to be lighter, if you're using watercolor, then you're just going to add water to it, and it will lighten up your color. If you want it to be darker, then you're just going to add more paint. You see how it got more darker when I added more paint? And I'm just being very careful. If you are using watercolors, the more water you add, honestly, the better, because it's going to get your watercolor to spread across your paper nice and evenly. And this is called a watercolor wash. So we want it to look like it's just kind of fallen onto our paper. We don't want to control this watercolor too much. So as you can see, I am just grabbing water and I'm putting it on my paper. It's very wet, as you can see. You're going to do the same thing if you're using markers too. Just keep adding water so then the watercolor starts spreading across your paper. Watercolor has a mind of its own, you guys, so do not try to control it too much. Just let it do whatever it wants to do. And as you can see, all I'm doing is going back and forth with my water and with my paint to try to cover my entire piece of paper. If your painting is looking pretty dry, like you can see the streaks in your paper still, if you're using these kinds of watercolors or markers, then that just means you need to add water. Please do not be afraid to add water to your painting, guys. We are making a watercolor wash after all. So look, we want it to look like this color has just been washed onto this paper. And I'm just carefully going back and forth. I am being respectful to my paintbrush. I'm not squishing her down. She is dancing across my paper like a ballerina would dance on a stage. So just keep that in mind while you are using your paintbrush today. Always be respectful of your paintbrush. I'm just looking at my painting and trying to add a little bit more water in any areas that might be dry. Can you guys actually see those puddles forming on my paper? That is a good sign. If your watercolor starts to form puddles on your paper, that means that you have a good amount of water, okay? So if you don't have puddles, then you're just gonna wanna add some more water to your paper. You could even do like little drops to add a really fun texture to your background if you wanted to do that. I don't know if you can see like where I'm putting the dots. It adds little texture spots onto my background. You could definitely do that if you want to. I wouldn't splatter it really hard because then you're gonna make a mess. So just do little droplets here and there if you want to. I think it looks pretty cool, so I'm gonna do it to my painting just like that. Okay, so keep in mind this is the background, so we are going to put a self-portrait on top of this. So some of this area will be covered up, so don't worry too much. I just want you guys to have fun making your background today, maybe experimenting with some materials that you've never tried to use as paint before, like markers. When you add water to them, they turn into paint. And now what I'm going to do is I need to let this dry 100%. I do not want to pick it up because you see those puddles right there. If I pick it up, those puddles are going to drip off of my paper, and I want it to dry flat. So if you did a painting like this, then you need to find a safe place for it to dry 100%, probably overnight if you have these puddles, and then put it in a very safe place because we will be using this again for this project. Okay, I hope you guys have a lot of fun creating this beautiful monochromatic background, whether you painted it or you colored it. I can't wait to see how it turns out. I know it's going to be amazing because you guys are amazing. All right, I'll see you guys next time. Bye, guys.